Joe Biden, you're not a president. You're a piece of shit.
We have Jamie Raskin in there accusing us of worshiping Trump, worshiping as a convicted felon.
They're treating you, Dr. Fauci, like a convicted felon. Actually, you probably wish they were treating you like a convicted felon. They treat convicted felons with love and admiration.
Oh, rim shot!
Well, yeah, so is George Floyd. And everybody, and you all too, the media worship George Floyd. Democrats worship George Floyd.
Where was the American social contract for George Floyd?
To his friends and loved ones, he is known as Floyd.
So again, thank you, George Floyd, for sacrificing your life for justice, for being there to call out to your mom. How heartbreaking was that? Call out for your mom. I can't breathe.
The glorification of this man by the Democrats and the media is a little bit off. After all, this was a man who had committed terrible crimes, a man who had terrorized an innocent woman who he robbed at gunpoint. To paint him as some saint to be worshipped shows just how intellectually and morally vacuous the left have become.
Today, with the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act,
justice is George Floyd going home tonight to be with his family.
There were riots burning down the fucking country over George Floyd, and Raskin is in there saying we worship him. Excuse me, let me correct you, and this is really important. I don't worship, I worship God. God. And Jesus is my savior. I don't worship President Trump. And I'm really sick and tired of the bullshit annex I have to deal with constantly from the Democrats. So that's what we just went through in there. The Democrats don't have anything. They're responsible for the lockdowns, forced vaccinations, kids being forced to stay home, people committing suicide, and all the horrors that this country lived through during COVID. Fauci belongs in prison. He should be tried for mass murder, and he should be tried for crimes against humanity. That's how I feel after that hearing. That's how the American people feel.
Cameron says that you should vote through funding for Ukraine. What do you say to that?
I think he tried to compare us to Hitler also. And if that's the kind of language he wants to use, I really have nothing to say to him.
Well, he likened you to an appeaser to Hitler in not voting through funding for Ukraine. Are you an appeaser for Putin?
I think that I really don't care what David Cameron has to say. I think that's rude name-calling, and I don't appreciate that type of language. And David Cameron needs to worry about his own country, and frankly, he can kiss my ass.
But do you think Putin's the good guy in all this?
Thank you so much, the news agents in from London. What do you think the message should be to Nikki Haley tonight?
President Trump is the clear front-runner. He's the winner in our Republican primary, and it's time for Nikki Haley to drop out and support him.
Do you think President Trump, Mr. Trump, is closer to picking his VP, and should you be on that list?
No, I don't think Nikki Haley should be on the list, but of course President Trump will choose who he wants for VP.
Would you like to be on that list?
He's got a long list. I support President Trump in any way he'd ask me, but I can assure you it won't be Nikki Haley.
And can you tell me why so many people that support Donald Trump love conspiracy theories, including yourself? He seems to attract lots of conspiracy theorists.
Well, let me tell you, you're a conspiracy theorist, and the left and the media spreads more conspiracy theories. We like the truth. We like supporting our Constitution, our freedoms, and America first. So
what about Jewish space lasers? Tell us about Jewish space lasers.
No, why don't you go talk about Jewish space lasers? And really, why don't you fuck off? How about that?
Thanks. Thank you very much.
I was talking to AOC saying you need to debate me about the Green New Deal. She doesn't need to file ethics violations or whatever she's doing. That's reacting like a child. Adults are able to debate policy.
Only that is not what two Washington Post reporters saw with their own eyes. I'm going to speak to one of them in a moment. So tell me what happened, and were you surprised by what you witnessed?
We're really shocked by the behavior that we saw from Marjorie Taylor Greene, so much so that I honestly didn't even have the presence of mind to record the interaction because I was so taken aback. And basically, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez walked out of the House chamber, and Greene started chasing her down and shouting at her, "Hey, Alexandria," in order to get her attention in a very aggressive tone. Greene picked up her pace, started chasing after her, continued to shout and asking her why she supports Antifa and Black Lives Matter, which she falsely referred to as terrorist groups, and asking her why she supports Antifa and Black Lives Matter, which she falsely referred to as terrorist groups.
The United States will designate the group that calls itself Antifa as a terrorist organization.
According to a new study, the Black Lives Matter movement is linked to more than 9 in 10 riots across America.
So Congresswoman Greene, denies, what you saw. She denies she screamed at Ocasio-Cortez.
She says screaming. You know what screaming is? Screaming is what people do when rockets are fired at them, like Hamas terrorists are firing into Israel. That's what people do. They scream when that happens. I was talking to AOC saying, you need to debate me about the Green New Deal.
Again, Jackie, you were there. Was she in fact screaming?
That is, in fact, not what happened. She was screaming. But you also were working in an environment where lawmakers and reporters, quite frankly, are scared to go to work every day. They're scared to hold town halls at home because of the potential threat of political violence that we've seen occur. Again, I've covered Washington for almost a decade now. I've never seen a political candidate, an elected official, or a lawmaker behave in this manner.
Really, why don't you fuck off? How about that?